Hello and welcome to another conversation to inspire your healthier lifestyle. I'm joined today by Miriam Mills. Hello, Miriam.
Hi, Roberta. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Miriam is a life coach and certified stress management consultant. She's been in the field of self-development for over 20 years, and she's the author of 2 books on the subject of stress and has recently launched an online training course. Miriam, I'll ask you to share those wonderful resources with us near the end of the interview. Today, I would love to get your insights on the mental health implications of COVID-19 and the stress and anxiety that it's caused for many of us. I don't think there's anyone watching that would take too long to think about how COVID-19 has really impacted their lives. I, for one, know that during virtual schooling, which was just all of a sudden something we had to do, there was a bit more stress in our household, and that's due to start again soon. So, Miriam, it would be great to hear from you in terms of what are the main stressful things that have been contributing to people's lives at this time.
So let's just begin by talking about sort of the differences really between the words stress and anxiety, and they're often used interchangeably. They do have similarities, of course, but stress is actually more of an external thing caused by external circumstances, and then anxiety is a byproduct, if you like, of the stress. So we feel stress whenever we feel that the demand placed on us exceeds the resources we have, the internal resources we have to cope. That's basically what stress is. So during this COVID time, we're experiencing unprecedented amounts of stress in terms of, firstly, if you're working from home and you're not used to working from home and you've got kids at home, being in each other's space a lot of the time is in and of itself stressful for some people. You know, you're cooped up in the house. There's not a lot of places you can go out safely. So you're spending a lot more time with your loved ones than would be normal. So that can be stressful. Perhaps people have lost their jobs, so they're worried about their income and can they pay their bills, keep a roof over their head. Also the stress of maybe perhaps catching COVID. So what will you do? How will your family cope if you actually succumb to the COVID-19? Who's going to look after the kids? Who's going to provide for the family? How are you going to pay your hospital bills? God forbid you were hospitalized. There's all that kind of worry. It's in the background. And of course, you know, the media is bombarding us every day with more statistics. So it just sort of can build up with people. And I would say just limit the amount of news that you're actually watching a day. I tend to just do it once a day, find out what's going on in the world, and then I just leave it. Otherwise, it really increase your levels of anxiety. So, and then there's of course the worry about homeschooling, and do you keep your kids at home or send them back, and there's the risk of contracting the disease if you send them back to school. So there's all those kind of choices we're having to make at the moment, and every day is a different day. It's been a whirlwind of change, a lot of change. We're expected to cope with rules, regulations, all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
no,
all that kind of stress, and the stress of, you know, maybe having teenagers at home and not allowing them to go out. So we're all facing an increased level of stress, I would say. So it's more important than ever, really, to be able to find coping strategies to manage your level of stress.
Yeah, no, it's a really good summary of the things that are going on for a lot of people right now. And it's really timely, especially with the consideration of schools going back now at the end of the summer vacation here. It's really worth touching on, although I know there's a lot more information these days about the impact of stress on our bodies, but just from your perspective and as a reminder to people, can you share with us, what does stress actually do to our health?
So unmanaged stress can be very detrimental to our health, and it can affect us mentally and physically and emotionally and on a behavioral level as well. So you might end up perhaps overeating just out of boredom, being at home, or just stress eating, comfort eating. Perhaps you might gain weight, or some people, if they're stressed, can't eat at all, so you might lose weight. So You might find your sleep pattern is interrupted when we're stressed. We might find we lose interest in things that used to give us joy.
Yeah.
Lack of concentration, lack of focus. Sometimes when we're stressed, we just can't focus on our work as much. You might find yourself becoming more irritable with the kids, with your spouse, with people in your household, just because of that closeness that we find ourselves in at the moment. You might find yourself becoming a little bit more depressed, having depressing thoughts, especially when you're listening to so much of this news. So stress affects people in different ways, and we all cope with stress differently. So, we'll talk about how we can perhaps manage that stress. And it's just more important than ever. As I say, everybody's different, and people cope with these changes in different ways. It affects people differently. So some people are better at coping than others, but it's important to have some tools and techniques to help manage this stressful time.
No, absolutely. And I mean, a lot of people that I work with, women normally midlife and wanting to manage and balance their hormones, cortisol, the stress hormone, if that gets elevated, then, weight gain in particular can be a real issue there, and it can drive a cycle of more emotional eating, as you mentioned. And that then can just, the more you feel that you're overweight, then the more stressful the whole situation can become also. I know that you have some practical tips to share with us today. So what I'd love to do is just hand the screen over to you and really listen in so that our viewers can have some takeaways from the conversation of things that they can implement.
So there are many different, probably 101 different techniques and tools, etc., that you can implement to help reduce stress. But I'm just going to hone in on three things that I find are important at this particular time that we'll find ourselves in. And the first really go-to is to work on your breath, to actually make it part of your daily routine. Breath work elicits the relaxation response, which is what we want in our bodies, as opposed to the stress response. So it's the opposite of the stress response. So taking some deep breaths and really making that part of your routine is sort of the number one go-to. I would encourage all my clients, always, is the first thing I teach is breath work. So if you make it part of your routine, for example, before you get out of bed in the morning, to do a couple of rounds of deep breathing. Then at midday, for example, if you're sitting at your desk, just to stop, pause, just for literally 1 minute and do a couple of rounds of deep abdominal breathing. And then again at nighttime, because it's a great way to actually help you get to sleep. It detoxifies the body, and as I say, it induces and activates the relaxation response. So when we are beginning to do this, people often breathe from the chest up, and that's shallow breathing. That's not really filling your lungs properly at all. So actually, when you're doing the deep abdominal breathing, if you place your hands on your tummy, then when you breathe in from the tummy up the ways, then your tummy should expand on the in-breath. So if you're breathing in for 4, breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, your tummy should actually expand. And then we hold the breath for 1 count. And then we exhale through the mouth, and your tummy will flatten. So again, breathing in through the nose for a count of 4, holding the breath for 1, and then exhaling all that old, stagnant, stale air out through the mouth. And so it only takes a minute or two to do a couple of rounds, 4-1-4, 4-1-4. You do that first thing in the morning. I guarantee you it will start your day off on a better footing. You'll find that you're able to respond as opposed to react to circumstances. And again, you'll feel much more calm and relaxed when you're having that deep abdominal breathing, filling the lungs with oxygenated air. So it's a wonderful tool, but you have to kind of remember to practice it. So obviously, if I say morning, noon, and night, at least that's 3 times. If you're feeling yourself getting a bit stressed with the kids, whatever, just take yourself aside, just do a couple of rounds of breathing. It only takes a minute, and it is a fantastic way just to get yourself calm and relaxed again. And we all need that. So breath work is really, really important to make part of your daily routine. The other thing is, as Roberta mentioned, the stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, can course through the body when we're feeling stressed and anxious and uptight. So the best way we can dissipate those stress hormones in the body is actually to get moving. If you can't always leave the kids and go out for your walk or out on the bike, then you can just literally do something like running up and down your stairs, or just take a short walk, maybe around the block or whatever. Just get moving, do something, even running on the spot, whatever it is. Just get moving. It actually releases those stress hormones from the body. And they can circulate in the bloodstream for up to 20 minutes, and they're not good for us. So when you're feeling uptight, get moving. That's the second tip. The other thing I find, which is super, super important to me, is maintaining that level of connection during this time. And you can't always go and see your friends because of the added risk, but you can use the likes of Zoom and FaceTime and WhatsApp and phone people. So staying in touch with people, keeping that level of connection is really, really important these times for yourself and for your children as well. So that's the three things. Get in the habit of doing the breath work morning, noon and night at least, or as many times as you can. Secondly, get moving. Do something every day. Do some form of exercise. Just get moving. It helps with the stress. And thirdly, maintain that level of connection. I know not having as much connection as I would normally have has been one of the hardest parts of this whole pandemic experience for me. So they're the three takeaways really: breath work, exercise, or get moving, and keep the level of connection as best you can.
I can edit this. I'm just getting our screens back. Miriam, I love that. I especially love that you started with breathing. I actually have done a little deep breathing, very short YouTube clip that I've shared before. I'm a big proponent of that. And as you say, you know, a couple of minutes can really do it. You can do it anywhere. You can be in your car. You can practice it. And the second one, you know, around the stress hormones. As an endurance athlete, there's a lot of conversation around managing cortisol and making sure that, you know, your cortisol levels don't get too elevated with movement. So I wanted to sort of draw in on that. You know, when you're suggesting the movement to sort of dissipate these hormones within the bloodstream, is that because there will be other more prevalent, happier hormones that then get generated from the movement?
Yeah, so the cortisol will be removed from the bloodstream, and then of course any form of exercise will give us those endorphins. The dopamine is activated, the endorphins are released, which is the feel-good factor we get from exercise. But it doesn't have to be you know, difficult exercise or a strained exercise. It can be just any kind of movement, just literally going for a walk around the block.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that makes you feel good. It's simple as that, for as long as it makes you feel good. And if you need more exercise and you're able to cope with that, so be it, that's fine too. It depends on what everybody's different.
Yeah, no, great to clarify that. And, you know, I would always say whatever workout you do, you know, if you are going longer, make sure your body's fueled for that, because that actually could have the opposite effect of ramping up. If you're asking too much of your body, ramping up the stress levels. So it is sort of making sure that that's the right balance. And, you know, the third one that you mentioned was around connection. And we see really innovative ways of people reaching out at the moment. It's fantastic, you know, some of these Zoom parties and, you know, different maybe Zoom drinks together or Zoom dinners, dance parties. I know that I've been connecting with a friend who moved to London right at the start of the pandemic, almost daily, to have dance parties with their kids. And that's been a real mood lifter for us, just moving your body, like you say, and getting some happy hormones going. Mm-hmm. Miriam, thank you so much for all the knowledge you've shared. I do like to ask people, because my coaching company is called Your Healthier Lifestyle, and that's because I believe that health is a journey, it's not a destination, and we're continuously on our own journey. Is there something that you can share to inspire our viewers that you're doing currently to move towards your healthier lifestyle?
Well, one thing I've started doing which is new for me, is I've started making my own kombucha. Got inspired from yourself. So that's been interesting. I've enjoyed doing that, and I'm trying to basically do anything to improve the gut health and boost my immune system. So I started making that, and that's working out really well. And I'm also trying to maintain my spiritual practice and keep that routine, because that keeps me grounded. I know at the beginning of the pandemic, I kind of like lost sight of that, and everything was different, and I was kind of out of routine, and I just felt off. So I do my gratitude in my gratitude journal every day. I do a little bit of yoga every day, which is what I've enjoyed. I used to do it at the gym, but now I do it at home. I like to go out on my bike every day, so 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the bike. So I'm developing my little routine. And I try just to make, I'm phoning Ireland, where I'm from, every single day. I'm phoning my family in England and Ireland a lot more than I would have. So that's keeping that connection and making sure everybody's okay has been really, really important to me. But just, limiting my news that I have to absorb in, because I find it's just so wearing and so tiring and so depressing all the time. So you do have to keep up to date with what's going on in the world. I'm not denying that or pretending it doesn't happen, but we just have to find that balance.
No, you have to find, and you know, I'm a creature of habit. I think a lot of us are, and just finding those new routines. And as you rightly say, you know, there's a lot of these things when it comes to stress management. There's 101 things to choose from. You know, I asked you today to distill a few takeaways for us. And that's where I really love the fact that one of your books that you've done, I have my copy here, distills down 10 ways to reduce and manage stress. Miriam, can you tell us about your books and your online training?
Sure. So the first book, as you've showed that, Roberta, is 10 ways to reduce and manage stress. And as I said, there is 101, but you can't talk about them all. So it was the first book. I did that as part of an interview series. And then my second book, which I started a long time ago, and I actually procrastinated and, you know, put it aside because things get in the way, is called Metamorphosis, A Journey of Transformation, which is about using it's really about the mind-body connection and how our thinking patterns and processes can affect us on a physical level. So it's really a life coaching book about getting us from where we are to where we want to be. So that's
I love this. I must say, I love the fact that, you know, there are a lot of resources online, but there's something about just having a book that you can sit down in a comfortable chair, or you can read a few pages off before you go to sleep, that really makes a difference, especially when it's a book about stress. You know, you're not hunched up at a computer screen or on your phone trying to read it. So great, you know, really well done getting those out there. And your training course is just launched recently as well?
That's right. I just launched the training course with Udemy, which is quite a big platform for instructors. And basically, it's a 20 short videos on stress management. And then I have something like 32 downloadable resources as well. So you can go and it's a self-paced online training for stress management. So that's been an interesting process to put things online. Especially with COVID, I have not had clients to the house. So I thought I will bring that platform to people. So it's 20 short videos and packed full of information. So it's actually now reduced to $19.99. So it's very accessible, very affordable for anybody who wants to take that course.
Well done for innovating. Congratulations. I would encourage anyone to, you know, reach out for those resources. I will link them in the description of this video. If people do want to connect with you and ask questions, what is the best way to do that, Miriam?
Probably through my website, which is www.breatheflowbalance.com, breatheflowbalance.com, and you can connect with me there. And my email is miriam@breatheflowbalance.com as well. So that's the two easiest ways to connect with me.
Thank you so much for your time today. I will include those details in the description, and stay safe and stress-free.
Thank you very much, Berta.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.